This other question, please explain why permission is being given to persons to conduct events that attract massive crowds. And if permission is not granted, why are these events not closed down? Are these events visited by the Compliance Task Force? Superintendent.
Thank you for that question, Mr. Williams. Why are these events that attract large crowds given permission to go on? Now, we've always heard that we have to learn to live with COVID. Life still has to go on. We just need to make some adjustments. These events, we cannot shut down all entertainment permanently, and so we grant permission with certain guidelines, certain stipulations. One of the main considerations in granting permission for these events is the number of persons in attendance and the size of the venue where the event would be held. And once we've determined that the venue is a particular size, we would recommend the number of persons. What we've seen happening is that persons would accept the conditions and then violate the terms and conditions given. Now you would ask, well, why not shut down the event? Again, that is a decision for the police on the ground he would have to make, whether you shut down the event and cause some public disturbance that you can't control, or you take other measures for the future. And so we regret that these things have to happen, and we continue to admonish our people to take the virus serious, realizing that it is spread through contact, and one of the main means of preventing its spread is distancing, social and physical distancing, the wearing of masks, and the hand sanitization. And once we grant these events, once we grant permission for these events, these are the main conditions that we stipulate. We know it is difficult for the mask and the social distancing together, but you must be able to at least do one. Either have on the mask, or if you do not wear any mask, keep your distance. But in all, your hands must be clean, your area around you must be sanitized, and that is the responsibility of the organizers. So again, we appeal to organizers of these events. Should you be granted permission, again, please remember that you have an obligation to protect your patrons and ensure that the protocols are complied with.
And I just want to add something to support what was just said, in that large is relative. It all depends on the square footage of the place. And we also know if an event is being held in an open air, you can accommodate more persons safely, as opposed to if it was held in an enclosed space. In this fight against COVID-19, however, we have spoken all the time about our individual and collective responsibilities. And we've said this is the first time in history that the singular action of one person can have far-reaching consequences for everyone else. When the organizers come before the task force, they come and they agree to stick to certain protocols and procedures. And then sometimes on the weekends, we see people circulating photos where there is no evidence of any social distancing at all. And a lot of the blame is being placed at the foot of the task force. Now, we all have to be responsible, and I believe that we are responsible also for what happens, but you individually, you are also responsible. And so if there's an event and it was supposed to be only 100 persons, and you get in there and you realize that the place is overcrowded, you have a responsibility to also decide you're not going to go in there. But I want to make an appeal to the organizers, because when the place was closed down, these persons came to us begging for us to start generating economic activity, asking for us to generate activity so the entertainers, etc., can make a living. And if you're given an opportunity, we need to make sure that we can live safely within COVID-19 COVID-19 and stick to the rules and the regulations, because it's not easy for the police to just show up at a place, see 500 persons and determine that they're going to pull the plug right away. They would have to make sure that they have the necessary security persons in place, because one don't want to stop the party and then you have a stampede and people are injured. And so we need to do this cautiously. So hopefully going forward, as he said, we will learn to live with COVID-19 and we can have these events and still do it safely. Thank you.
I just want to add something to what was said by both Superintendent Henry and Dr. Wilkinson, which is we are reviewing the protocols. Some new protocols have been developed for the entertainment sector, and these protocols would be in the next iteration of the regulations. And to all promoters, I'm sending you a strong message. We are going to make it a little more difficult in terms of the penalties that are going to be applicable to you if you violate the terms and conditions. As Dr. Wilkinson said, these terms and conditions are agreed upon, and on the day of the event, you are seeing that the terms and conditions basically are flushed away. And then you see disorganized and irresponsible actions and behaviors by individuals attending these events. We are looking into increasing fines against promoters. So promoters, you will be responsible for the actions of the patrons, and we are also looking at other measures of fines or any other applicable regulations, regulatory measures that need to be applied to you in order to have full compliance. Because if we say to you 300 and you end up with 900, whether we get in a lot of excuses that persons entered some other way, persons did this and did that, that has nothing to do with us, the task force. That has to do with the responsibility of the promoter. Secondly, the question was asked about the compliance team. Hence, we have finished the training with the compliance officers, and from now on, compliance officers will be at these events, and the compliance officers will guide the protocols and terms and conditions that have been placed before these promoters in order for them to operate. And once there is violation, then there will be implications. Thank you.